This man's story is one for the freaking history books. At the age of 4, his mom found him in the kitchen bawling his eyes out with a very sharp knife trying to cut his hand off. He faced all sorts of obstacles and still prevailed, and against all odds, he proved everybody wrong. Now, he secured himself a spot on whichever NFL team is lucky enough to draft him.
I'm mixing them cookies with sherbet. I need a fan like I serve. I get the money you hard.
But many people didn't know about this man until recently, after he lit up the NFL Combine. He faced all sorts of obstacles and still prevailed. He even took what seems to be the biggest adversity anyone's ever faced in sports, looked it right in the eyes, and stomped it right out. His name is Shaquem Griffin, and in my eyes, one of the most inspirational athletes to ever play the sport of football. His story of how he got there is most definitely one for the freaking books. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. Shaquem was born a twin to his older brother Shaquille. They were almost absolutely identical except for one thing. Shaquem was born with a problem. His left hand suffered from something called amniotic band syndrome, which caused all his fingers on his left hand to not fully develop ever. It was tough, man. At the age of 4, his mom found him in the kitchen bawling his eyes out with a very sharp knife trying to cut his hand off. He bawled and told her that it hurt so bad that he'd feel a lot less pain just chopping the thing right off himself than having to keep living with it. The very next day, his parents scheduled an amputation of his hand. And man, that's where the legend you guys know today as Shaquem Griffin was born. Alongside his brother, they just absolutely dominated sports. They played football, baseball, and even ran track. And of course, he excelled at all three with only one hand. That's crazy, right? Eventually, time passed, and Shaquem and his brother Shaquille grew up, totally dominated sports, and eventually were offered a full scholarship to the University of Central Florida. Excited to stay together, they both signed up and joined the team. Playing under the head coach George O'Leary at the time was extremely tough for the two brothers. At the time, they were both DBs or defensive backs, whatever you want to call it. And Shaquille, he saw the field, he played, he got great playing time, but unfortunately for his little brother Shaquem with only one hand, he just didn't get as lucky. Shaquem was distraught. He felt as if the only reason this school went out of their way to bring both of them there was just so they could get a hold of his brother. He felt unwanted and unappreciated by the coaching staff. And as a former teammate of his, I experienced him going through some of these struggles. It's like the coaching staff had it out against him or something. The brothers were known as the troublemakers, even though they did nothing wrong. They were totally innocent. Any little thing they could point him out for, they'd find it and they'd, get on him about it. I remember hearing him say many times how he's just gonna pack his things up out of his dorm, go home and just never come back. They even told him if he didn't cut his hair, then he would never see the field ever at his time at UCF. That's ridiculous. After an 0-12 season, UCF fired the whole entire coaching staff and brought in some new guys. They brought in a new head coach who would later become the hero of this program and their savior. His name is Scott Frost. From the jump, Frost knew he had something very special in his one-handed player named Shaquem. He noticed his great leadership skills and his relentless passion and love for the game of football. And with a much brighter and more positive coaching staff, Shaquem just fell into place and began to shine. He put on a bit of weight during the offseason and began to study a new playbook. Recruited as a defensive back, he made the switch to linebacker and absolutely lit things up. He earned the coveted title of Defensive Player of the Year, along with 2 back-to-back first-team all-conference honors. The same guy who didn't play not too long ago, didn't see the field at all, just absolutely lit up the college football stage. He went from playing only 3 games in his first 2 years at UCF to starting every single one in his last 2. He racked up some crazy, ridiculous numbers. 195 total tackles, 33.5 tackles for loss, and 18.5 sacks in his career. And not only did he light it up on the field, but he helped lead his team from turning that 0-12 crappy, didn't win a game season to being the only undefeated team in 2017. Wow. Just freaking wow. His amazing performance on the field got him an invite to the biggest stage in all of college football, the NFL Combine. He got there, and I swear his performance turned every head in that building. And he shined as that one-handed guy who never, ever gave up. When I tell you he lit up the Combine, mind-blowing performance. He absolutely set that place ablaze. Let's watch some of his performances at the Combine. See, from the jump, you're probably curious as to how this guy with only one hand can bench press when it requires two. Well, he has a special prosthetic that he puts on his arm that helps him grip the bar. And although it seemed like the condition he had would really hold him back in an event like this, he didn't let anything stop him. He absolutely tore that event up. "20 reps. Wow, that is huge. 225 pounds is a whole lot of weight, and doing it with one hand is even more impressive. But this wasn't the only event he ripped up. Let's watch his 40-yard dash.
Flies to the football. 4.38 for Shaquem Griffin. Hello.
Wow. I'm at a loss for words. I remember watching this live, and the ESPN announcers the day before gave little predictions, and they went around and said what times he'd run, and they said that he would run a 4.6 at best. At best.
Shaquem Griffin is absolutely dominating this combine.
Are you kidding me? And he was a late. Rich, he didn't get invited to the combine until after the Senior Bowl was over.
And if that holds up, that would be the fastest 40-yard dash time by a linebacker since we started recording this stuff in 2003.
First of all, running a 4.38 as a linebacker is freaking impressive. Linebackers are pretty big guys, so running with this type of speed is pretty unreal. But of course, this is Shaquem Griffin, and he shows us that nothing is impossible. Just put it into perspective. His time is faster than Odell Beckham, Adrian Peterson, Richard Sherman, Ezekiel Elliott, and even Julio Jones. Those are some of the biggest stars to ever play the game of football. And he's faster than all of them. Just watch this.
Julio, Richard Sherman, and Shaquem Griffin. Let's see what we've got.
Richard Sherman is not going to win this.
Okay, neither is Zeke. And neither is Julio Jones.
I'm telling you, this guy is just unbelievable. He lit things up at the biggest stage in college football. His field workouts were also great. Doing drills, dropping back in coverage, and catching passes with only one hand.
This is legitimate football player. I can't wait to see him play on Sundays next year.
You know what this reminds me of personally? I covered the Michigan baseball team when Jim Abbott was on it.
Yeah.
And I remember one day it was a doubleheader, and he started one game of the doubleheader. He was lights out from the pitcher's mound. And in the second game, with all the National League scouts in the stands, they had him back to show that he could hit too. And he laced a triple in the gap.
Did he really?
And the place went nuts.
That's awesome.
And this kind of reminds me of that for the obvious reasons, but also to show that whatever might look like a limitation, as you can see here, that's one of the cleanest catches we saw all day.
He doesn't think he's any different from these guys. He's found ways around it.
Absolutely astonishing. This man's story is one for the freaking history books. He overcame gigantic adversity and never let anything get in his way or stop him from being the great person he was destined to be. He continued chasing his dream no matter what, and against all odds, he proved everybody wrong. Now, he secured himself a spot on whichever NFL team is lucky enough to draft him, which I guarantee you he's gonna be drafted very high up there. How dope would it be if him and his brother Shaquille got reunited again? Shaquille currently plays for the Seahawks, Legion of Boom. What would that defense look like? Jesus. Keem, if you watching this video, bro, I'm proud of you, dog. I'm very proud of you, bro. Way to freaking put on, bro. Way to freaking put on for the crib. You made your family proud. You made your teammates proud. You made your coaches proud. You made everybody proud that supports you, bro. You did your thing, man, and being locker neighbors during our time at UCF, man, it was absolutely privilege. It was an absolute honor. And that's something I'm gonna always remember for the rest of my life. You taught me a valuable lesson as to why you should never give up no matter how big the obstacle may be. Best of luck, brother. You're doing big things on the biggest stages. And I know your hard work and dedication is gonna take you to even greater heights. Against all odds, bro.